Sup YouTube, welcome back to another video documenting my journey to legend. One of my goals for this season is to hit legend using Dragonite in some sort of variant. So either normal or shadow. In today's video, we're going to be rocking Shadow Dragonite in an ABA weak to fairy team. I know, before you say it, I was aware of it when I was making this team, alright? But I don't care. I haven't seen a fairy type in who knows how long, so we may do. The actual Pokemon that you should be more afraid of is Skarmory, because you are also kind of ABA weak to Skarmory. I don't know what the appropriate answer or response is to Skarmory. I'm gonna start maybe swapping in Swampert, because I've noticed that most teams with Skarmory in the lead tend to have a Lantern in the back, and that third Mon isn't typically the strongest against Swampert. But again, maybe I've just been running into bozo teams like my own. So here we're not unfortunately going to be able to flip switch. I'm down a shield, which is also kind of trash. Maybe I should have let that Sky attack through because it doesn't KO. But on the off chance that they go for the Brave Bird and then I'm like, you know, full sent and spent, it's kind of going to suck. So they come back in with Skarmory. I do one, then throw the superpower, and I'm going to dip into Swampert and hope that he can close for me in the back. They have a Vig. They're not exactly the greatest response to a Swampert. I believe you do lose the 2s, but maybe with enough energy, if my opponent had stayed in, I might have been able to play that out. So here I am going to get a shield back, which is great. But as you're going to see, I'm going to let this through, and their Body Slam isn't going to KO me. So they're going to get more moves through, and I'm going to have to respect this. And I think what I should have done in hindsight is allowed this Body Slam to go through. But Dragonite can't really tank jack all. And you're going to notice that even though we get to the superpower, I believe that was a CMP, it just doesn't do enough damage. And so I top left like an absolute savage. So next up, we're up against Cradilly. Again, not the best lead, but you can at least put work into this. They go one over and allow me to get to the superpower, so I bait with a Dragon Claw. I do force a shield, which is great. I'm going to have to shield regardless, so it's kind of shit. And I'm going to try to catch the next Rock Slide onto Poliwrath because they would lose CMP. They do throw the Rock Slide immediately. I am able to catch on to Poliwrath, but I am going to have to shield this move anyway, since they will outpace to a Grass Knot. But that's fine by me. Cradilly's a pretty solid response to Poliwrath, so I'm not expecting something else in the back. And what do they come in with but a Gliscor? So exactly, this isn't exactly a response to Poliwrath. I have noticed that a lot of teams are pretty strong to Poliwrath since it is pretty, not busted, but it does really, really well in the current meta, especially with counter and its new moveset of Scald and Icy Wind. Icy Wind being the new move. Here I stayed in because I wasn't really afraid of the Swampert's energy, and I knew that the Gliscor was only at 2, so at worst I would CMP on the Earthquake. And I believe I still tank an Earthquake from full health. I'm not exactly sure about that. But we do manage to CMP, and we're not going to find out, which is great. Dragonair, you're going to see me make a bozo play here. Typically, you're able to store the Dragon Claw and get out. My opponent, luckily for me, also bozoed that play. But I think their Dragonair was just too attack weighted, and so I wasn't able to swap out. Here they try to catch a Earthquake, which they successfully do. And I'm going to be able to now just spam Hydros because at this point, the Mud Shots are adding up. I can probably counter this thing down with Poliwrath. They're not going to be able to spark me down. Not before I'm able to swap out. They do go for the Surf here to force a shield and force me to use this energy, but I'm super okay with getting their last shield. And then I come in with Poliwrath, and even if they bait me, I feel like I'll still be able to get to my next move. So I don't call the bait, which is, you know, it doesn't really make a difference. And I'm able to punch them down, and we take that game. Next, another Lantern lead, another bit of a core breaker, because Dragonite doesn't exactly do too well against this thing. But typically what happens is the Lantern will just go for the Surf, and even though you should shield it, I like to just let my Dragonite put in work. I'm going to shield this. They are one spark away from the next Surf, so I can't exactly throw on correct timing. I just need to see their move register on me, go for my Dragon Claw, They don't shield. I come in. I catch the Surf onto Poliwrath where it'll do the least amount of damage. I get my counter through, and that's best case scenario because their Lantern is now down. Unfortunately for me, they have a Charge Bug, so they're prepared for the wrath. And I think I'm going to come in with Swampert and get as much of an energy lead as I can. Because they can just go for X Scissors, which do hurt. I CMP, which was incredibly risky, because I wanted to force them to make a decision. Had they gone for the extra, like that would have been so bad. Here, I'm not going to CMP. I'm going to catch onto my two-town Tubby Tubster, who has no bulk. And as you can see, an X Scissor took us out. Here I see the Talonflame come in, so I do 2 and then throw the move. And at this point, I wasn't too sure if a Hydro would KO from a Shadow Swampert. But as you're going to see, it does. And the Volt Switch isn't able to kill me or KO me before we take out their Charge-a-Bus. In comes Whiscash, the big Cash Daddy. And they swap into Lickitung, and we have a pretty solid response in Poliwrath. Unfortunately, we are going to have to respect this Power Whip. I probably could have gone for the... Actually, no, because they would have outpaced me to the Icy Wind. But here I'm going to build up to just before they get to the next Power Whip. And if they decide to shield this, which they don't, I would have then allowed the Power Whip to go through because I think I would have tanked it. Here I try to go for a CMP. I do successfully CMP my opponent on, I think this was the Mud Bomb. I don't remember. And at this point, I just want to get damage off on this Whiscash. It is a Mud Bomb. I'm going to go for another CMP. We do successfully CMP, which is great. And then I think I'm just going to immediately swap into Swampert and pray. Lucky for me, it's a big flying dragon. So I'm able to do diddly squat. But my opponent hasn't realized that those Dragon Tails are going to add up. So they let the first Hydro Cannon go through, which I think is their death sentence here. I'm able to survive with my clutch-ass IVs and get off this Hydro. They wisen up. They're like, ah, shit, these Dragon Tails about to add up. So they shield the next Hydro, which is fine by me. I'm not going to make it to 2 moves. So at this point, I might as well just farm down. And we successfully managed to farm down. If they had shielded, that would have been a different end game. But luckily for me, my opponent didn't react quick enough. And we're able to take that game. So again, this team is like incredibly high risk, high reward. But I love it. Like I enjoy using Pokemon that I like. I'm a big fan of the Kanto region, obviously, as you can tell. I grew up on the first 3 games, so these are like some of my favorite Pokemon. I am able to successfully catch a Body Slam. I waited a turn so that they would, because I assumed my opponent would throw on proper timing. It comes back to bite me a bit. An argument could have been made that I should have gone for the Icy Wind, because I probably would have made 2 Icy Winds or forced them to throw. And now I just gotta sacrifice my Tubby Tubster to the gods. And yeah, I'm perfectly okay with it. But on the off chance that they bait, which they do, I do 1, I click the move. It's really hard to see, but you can see the move light up for just a fraction of a second. I clicked the move, but the game didn't register it. And like a bozo, I then threw another Dragon Tail and wasn't able to get my move off. So I had to use up a shield, which is why I top left. Maybe it would have been a different game if I was able to save that shield for the Vig instead of the Lantern. But again, it didn't quite happen. As you can see, my opponent swaps into a Charge-a-Bus, and like a bozo, I come in with Poliwrath. Lucky for me, they don't bait, which would have been really bad. I just want to force a shield here because I know I'm going to lose Switch like a dumbass. I should have came in with Swampert. That's a much more dominant matchup. That's who you want to come in with. Don't be like me. Don't be like the Gap. I'm perfectly content with just going down 1 shield and then coming back in, shielding once with D-Knight because I don't want to reveal the Swampert, and farming this thing all the way down. This thing really does look like a tiny-ass school bus. Kind of funny. So I'm going to see what they come in with. Here, what I probably should have done is thrown the superpower. They come in with Swampert. All I need to do is Hydro on Hydro action. I can just get off a Hydro Cannon, and this will be more than enough or close enough to KO. You can see from my absolutely atrocious IVs that I'm going to win some of these CMPs. We managed to, but my opponent has a Swampert that's too good. Too good, this Swampert. They go for the EQ like a bozo. Not that it would have mattered, I don't think. And now I'm at the back-to-back superpowers. I'm going to throw on proper timing because I believe they're at 4 now. It should be 5, 6, and what is it? The Skarmory is 8 to the first move. So they're just about, they just don't make it to the move. And we're able to take that game. Had I not thrown on proper timing, that would have been a completely different matchup. I would have lost that game. So, you know, that's a PSA to throw on proper timing. If you like the video, definitely like and consider liking and subscribing. Here, you're seeing me get my cheeks clapped, both in the front and in the back. It doesn't feel good. It's not too pretty. But, you know, we make do. We try to make as much action as possible happen in this game that is clearly going to be a loss. I don't CMP with them. I don't throw the Icy Wind immediately because I don't want them to get more farm on my Poliwrath, because my Dragonite is going to have to tank a move regardless, if you can call this a tank. This is more like a one-sided massacre. They do make it to the Shadow Ball. They throw on Bozo timing, which is even better for me. I am able to successfully tank this move. What I should have done here is thrown the superpower immediately. I should have just thrown it. I don't know what I was thinking swapping into Swampert. Like, just throw the move, put them into Hydro Cannon range, and then come in with Swampert. Because then at this point, like, I'm not gonna have to shield, right? They're either gonna have to catch a move or store a move and dip. But like a Bozo, I don't do that. I need to shield this now. And what I probably should have done, since I wasn't gonna make it to 2 moves, I should have just gone for the Hydro. Sorry, the Earthquake. But regardless, the Earthquake would probably do 75% damage, so it wasn't gonna make much of a difference in the end. As you can see, I'm not gonna make this next Hydro. And I don't have any health left on this thing. This is absolutely pointless. I don't know what I am doing. I should have top lefted my life a long time ago, but we stay in because we love the misery. All right, next. Next up, we got Buzzwole. This is a really stellar lead, except for the fact that Buzzwole hits like a damn truck. They stay in, you know, just to flex their muscles for a second. And I come in with Swampert. So far, we're hard countering our opponent now. The only way I lose this game is if I bait. So I full send my Hail Mary of an EQ, and I'm going to see what my opponent wants to do. They don't shield, which is great, because that was probably their only win con at that point. I have just enough energy to get to this Hydro on the Buzz. I love how this Pokemon just flexes their muscles when they take a move. Or is it when they throw a move? I forget. Let me see. See when they do it. It's like really, really freaking funny. Oh yeah. Okay. I guess it wasn't there. This is one of the downsides of rocking Dragon Tail, is that what I should have done there, knowing that they would go for the superpower, I should have waited to see what Pokemon would come in, because I ate a full Ice Shard, and goddamn did that hurt. Now I have a Dragon Tail, a Dragon Claw loaded on my Dragonite. This is a pretty dominant matchup. I figured this would be where they would not bait, but they do bait like a savage. But I'm just going to farm this thing all the way down. I'm going to go for the Scald. I should have gone there immediately just in case I do get the debuff to make these counters do a little bit less damage. And my opponent makes a mistake. They shield the debuff, the twice debuffed Icy Wind. What they should have done is they should have shielded this one that I'm about to throw right now. But they don't, like a Bozo, and we managed to take that game, which was really, really, really close. All right, next up, we're up against Whiscash, the Big Cash Daddy, and they're going to swap into a Dragonair. This is the non-shadow, so maybe I could have stayed in and done a couple more Dragon Breaths. But what I am going to do is I'm going to shield the first one, go for the Icy Wind immediately, undercharge this just in case they decide to let this go. And what I should have done here, which is not what I do as I say, not as I do, I should have let this Body Slam through. I need shields for the 2 Glassy Mons that I have in the back. But like a Bozo, I shield, and I've pretty much signed my own death warrant, as you're going to see. They're going to come in with Whiscash. I try to CMP. My opponent doesn't fall for it because they're not a Bozo. They let the move through. And what I should have done here is, yes, the Scald does more damage, but I should have just gone for the Icy Wind. I'm pretty weak to Skarmory, so I want them to have as little attack as possible. And you're going to see that this is going to come back to bite me because my opponent farms up to just before I reach the next Hydro. They're going to full send the Brave Bird. And because I didn't debuff this thing, an argument could be made that I could have also come in with Dragonite, but I would have been absolutely dismissed to the gods. And the Whiscash has a move. Because I didn't debuff them, I don't make that Icy Wind. And now they have a Brave Bird loaded, and there's nothing I can do. It's already. So, What do you do against a fairy team? Well, read them and weep. I got incredibly lucky, as you're going to see here. My opponent allows me to not just get to the Scald, but to get to the Icy Wind as well also. Which is, I think, why I throw on... Oh, no, I guess I do throw on good timing here. But I figured maybe I'd be able to tank or play rough if I debuff them. And as you're going to see, my opponent does not appear to have the play rough, which is even better for me. They do build up to it here, so I'm like, ah, damn, maybe I just called the first one. No, they don't have play rough. I don't know why they would come in with Azu if they didn't have play rough. Maybe they thought the matchup would be pretty dominant, which, as you can see, it's not. We do take out the Azu, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let myself get farmed down and give this Frostlass a ton of energy. No, I don't. I come in with Swampert. They try to catch a Hydro, which is what I was expecting. So I was going to just overfarm, tank, shield a, what's that move called? Shield and Avalanche. And what I should have done here, I should have baited twice. But, you know, hindsight, obviously 2020. I still do think that I will make it to an Earthquake, so my opponent is forced to throw. And now I'm just going to trust in 2 shielded Dragonite. I'm going to come back from this atrocious lead and show my opponent a little what for. How dare they run triple strong to Dragonite, man? What is this guy thinking? Dragonite doesn't exist. Let my boy have some play. They go for the Surf because why won't they? You know, at this point, the Ice Shards are probably KO. I think Superpower KOs from here, and I think I'm going to have just enough energy to make it to a Dragon Claw and take out this Frostlass. This was absolutely beautiful. 10 out of 10 would recommend this team. You should definitely run it. It's ABA weak to Fairy for a reason, because as you can see in this in this set of battles, we ran into Fairies twice, but in like one match. I really like this team, and I'm gonna see if I can continue to use Dragonite to great success. So if you run into me, just know I'm probably rocking a Dragonite in some sort of fashion. So far, he's been in the lead for a lot of my teams, but we'll see if I switch it up. I probably won't, because I'm a creature of habit, but we'll see. Catch you in that next video. Peace.